Hey there, my name's Liam, and this is Liam Jones Artist on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a Subscribe Star. You ever heard of Subscribe Star? It's kind of like Patreon, except it's not political. It's not like politically left anyway. There's no leftist gatekeeping like there is at Patreon. So I feel a lot safer at Subscribe Star. So if you like my content, if you're interested in my content, go over there and give a little bit of support. I've started making tutorials for art and documenting my journey to become a comic book artist, which has taken a lot of strides over the last year or so. This is the first time making a video in a long time, and I spent a minute or two making a couple of overlays. This colorful thing here, this is not permanent by any means. This is just an experiment to see if I can actually do it. So mission accomplished. This only took me about an hour to make a couple of overlays and figure things out. It did take a couple of takes though. Yeah, being a YouTuber is a lot of technical stuff, and I'm glad I'm not a successful YouTuber yet. In a way, like, it's kind of strange. You know, my channel's grown, but only by like 50 subscribers since I started making videos like last year. But that's okay, because honestly, I'm not ready yet, and I don't really think the content is up to snuff yet, but it's getting there. So things like overlays, getting comfortable in front of a camera, having interviews, those kinds of things. That's slowly but surely, I'm becoming a much better YouTuber. So if you're up for the journey coming with me, hit subscribe, click the notification bell, all that kind of good stuff. Today, what I'm going to do is look at a comic and see if this works. Oh, it works. Oh, it's great. Okay, so the last couple of takes I did with this, it conked out on me. This is comiXology.com. Changed. Comixology is where you buy digital comics. I was all excited about it at first, and then they got bought out by Amazon or some kind of thing with Amazon, and then now you have to go to this Kindle Reader site, which all just affirms the fact that there's nothing like buying a physical copy of whatever art or entertainment it is that you love. Like, if you love movies, buy the Blu-ray or the DVD. If you love comics, buy the actual comic, because if you have to rely on Comixology, you have to rely on the Kindle Reader. And this thing just conked out of me and gave me the spinny wheel a bunch of times. Hopefully it won't right now. Anyway, what this is a comic book from the late 80s, maybe the early 90s. I don't actually know offhand, because the only date here is 2013, which is definitely not when this came out. This X-Men 258 was the third in a series where Jim Lee and Scott Williams teamed up and started working to become that team that they the legendary team of comics. It's like you can't have one without the other these days. For me, it was like that with Mark Silvestri and Dan Green. There's no one that inked Mark Silvestri's work better than him, as far as I could tell. But we'll check that out in future episodes where we look at Cyberforce and Mark Silvestri's later work and see if my theory holds up. Anyway, this is one of my all-time favorite comic books. As a kid, I fawned over this thing. I took a magnifying glass to it. I actually put it under a microscope and started looking at the color separations and the printing process and stuff. That's how much I love this thing. I think I was 11 or 12 when it came out. Look at this drawing of Wolverine. This is so great. Like the anatomy is very comic booky and anime influenced. I love that he, like, for some reason, there's something about it that seems Asian, and it probably is I know that's a racist thing to say, but when I saw it, I was really into a couple of anime cartoons back in the day. What were they called? Star Blazers. Star Blazers was what it was. And Akira. Anyway, a bunch of things. Every once in a while, you'd find something that was from like either China or Japan on TV. And I loved it. I thought it was great because it was all about martial arts, right? So anyway, there's something about that in the way that Jim Lee drew Wolverine. And I found out later on, watching some interviews with him, that he was influenced by some posters that were around. in the office when he was working with Wills Portacio, all the people from the original Image comics. But, this was before Image. This was actually an X-Men. And I noticed the same kind of influence when he was doing the Punisher War Journal before this as well. But yeah, this opening page here, I should make a poster of this and put it on my wall because it's fantastic. Basically, the story behind it is pointless. It's a lot of fun. It's good comic book fare. Is that like their version of, see the Kindle reader? I double click on the screen, right? And then it starts doing like a bit of a zoom in. Is that supposed to be a frame by frame reader like Comixology? Yeah, I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed with the Kindle reader for comic books. Okay, so if you double click it, it's going to give you what Comixology used to have, which was a frame by frame play. At least you can get something of a close up. So this is the new quote unquote Psylocke after she had changed from the England girl. She was from England, Betsy Braddock, right? And she becomes an assassin. And she's being used to convert Wolverine to the Hand as well. What is this? Like, can't I just record a video without being interrupted by some kind of craziness? Anyway, should turn my phone off. Good times, good times. I'm not gonna quit. This video for sure. I'm just gonna post anyway. Where was I? All right, so this art here with Wolverine is fantastic. The drawings of Psylocke as well are just beautiful. His faces, typically heroic looking. Jubilee, she's being fashioned after the Robin character from The Dark Knight Returns. That's apparently what Jim Lee was doing here. I learned that from Cartoonist Kayfabe. I would never have picked up on it on my own, but this whole thing is basically Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Chris Claremont doing a love letter of sorts, maybe a homage, maybe ripping off, maybe contributing to Frank Miller's Daredevil series and The Dark Knight Returns, all the Frank Miller stuff. I don't mind, doesn't bother me at all. I think it's great. I really love what he did here. So you zoom in with Wolverine. Look, so Wolverine is being corrupted, but these boils, that must hurt, man. That's like, what is that? That's Ebola meets the worst case of acne you've ever experienced meets hives, like brutal. Anyway, what this is meant to demonstrate is that Wolverine is so mentally strong and violent that he can even take control of Psylocke like a telepath, which is pretty good storytelling. They have to make the girls amazingly powerful in X-Men. That was one of Chris Claremont's goals in Reign of the X-Men, was always to make the women supremely powerful. Mission accomplished. But what I bought this for, of course, was the art. Like, Jim Lee's art is amazing. This is really strange, though. This pose, this is like an actor, kind of a little bit effeminate, and he's killing a girl. Strange. But she survives, and this is where you get to see Jim Lee drawing ninjas, which for me as a kid was the best. It was like, I've achieved nirvana. I've seen everything in life that I want to see. Jim Lee is drawing ninjas, paying an homage to Frank Miller. Absolutely fantastic. And here's Jubilee doing Robin from Batman. Oh gosh, I love the way Jim Lee draws, and I guess it's also the way that Scott Williams does the inks. But even before Scott Williams, Jim Lee was Jim Lee. And look at these hands. These are beautifully done hands and effortless. And the way she's jumping forward like that with the shades, super cool. Looks great. She's swinging around fighting ninjas. The ninjas have like wraps around their legs and arms, the contours, just to give them a little bit more form, I suppose. But look at the calf muscle on this ninja. Great action sequences. Absolutely fantastic. And there's some texture. So the Mandarin has this texture. That's one of those zipatone type things that don't age well. Apparently, it kind of yellows the page. And I've heard that, but that's fine. Oh yeah, Jubilee's face here is really good. It's a great face. Again, these ninja poses are fantastic. I love that. This is stuff that made me want to draw as a kid. Oh, how many ninjas can you put on one page doing awesome poses? Knee up, getting killed, whatever. It's fantastic. And then we have this amazing drawing of Banshee. Oh, he's kicking ninjas here. See, I can't tell how much more is on the page. Yeah, the Mandarin just kicking these ninjas. Beautiful. Anyway, this drawing of Banshee. How many people do you know in the comic world that can draw hands like this? This effortless. I mean, there's Mark Silvestri, Lee Weeks, Jim Lee. Those are the guys. There's no laboring at all over these hands. It just makes me so jealous that they can draw so well, so fast. Great pose. Like, there's not too much detail. There's all the detail that you want to see and nothing more than is necessary. It's just eye candy. And okay, hold on. There's another Jim Lee-ism that I love. So right here, you have him doing multiple poses in one. He did this from the very beginning. Jim Lee, I saw his application to Marvel Comics. It was a 7-page thing that he did with Vision at an airport. And he had been doing these action sequences where he would draw the figure multiple times in one frame to give like a sense of what the person's doing. So this is like Banshee falling and then getting right back up again. It's great storytelling. I love it. These weird drones, like how does that stay in the air? They're tying him up with these metal things. That's actually a throwback to something else that Jim Lee did back in Punisher War Journal. Where, well, I was just looking at the comic. It's called Damage. Anyway, this is a reoccurring thing in comic book land, at least with Jim Lee, with these metal arms that come out and grab people. It's pretty great. Anyway, these drones that don't seem to have any engines are carting them off. Comic book sci-fi stuff. It's beautiful. Oh, he's with the good guys. So let's see. Moving right along, we have some amazing figure work by Jim Lee again, tying in with other storylines. That is Zaldane, but she's getting strong like the Hulk now. It's not Zaladane. Anyway, there's so many plots being Polaris, that's her name. Polaris, not Zaladane. There was like 2 or 3 magnetic girls who had Magneto's powers back in the day. Anyway, so this Wolverine, again, just cool pose. Like, where'd he get the loincloth? If that's not actually him, you know, or maybe it is. No, it is. He's no longer just a mental representation of himself. The showdown where they break free. Some great fight scenes here between Wolverine and Psylocke, where she's posing as Jean Grey. Like, the storytelling here is ridiculous. Cartoonist Kayfabe did a really good take on this, where they just went to town on Chris Claremont isms, where there's all kinds of things that happen, but nothing actually happens, which is kind of a trope, I guess, in comic books. There's all these representations of other characters going to help Wolverine break out of prison. There's ninjas getting hit by bullets that aren't actually there. There, This is Jim Lee coming into his own. Like, that is a Wolverine. That is a fantastic Wolverine. Man, again, not overly labored. I mean, there is some there is some laboring with the hair, okay? They went to town on the hair, that's for sure. But is there anyone who can draw action like Jim Lee? That's quite the panel. Fantastic. Yeah. Boom. So great. Taken into action. The thing that the best comic book artists do is they always draw the heroic poses. Everything looks amazing. All the proportions, like aside from the sexiness, I'm talking about the actual like skill to get everything in proportion. The back muscles, the way the leg is, the foreshortening on the feet, the calves. Like, this guy is my hero. Great. That's like a side kick, front kick. I don't know how much martial arts he knows, but that kick doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Looks great though. It's a great way to do a vertical panel. It's like, it works for a comic book, even though it's not real martial arts. Even though I bet that kick would still hurt. Anyway, I just contradicted myself. No big deal. Oh, man. So here's a little bit of distortion, right? The distortion, everything is elongated to accentuate the fact that she's being thrown, hurt. Good stuff. Good stuff, Jim Lee. Oh yeah, there's Wolverine, but pop the third claw through the guy's neck. It's pretty great. And they're free. Okay, we're coming up to one of my favorite drawings of Wolverine. This one's great. From the back, like the heroic pose is just legendary. There it is. I love, for some reason, this drawing of Wolverine does everything I want a comic book character to do. Like, he's looking away into the distance, straight on. You can't see his other arm. His chest is like barreled. His arms are rippling. It's like, and she looks great too. But, there's Wolverine, who's just, man, fantastic. Really, really just a champion performance by Jim Lee on this. This is why he became Jim Lee. Like, that Wolverine drawing, that's the way it pops out, absolutely fantastic. And she's got some kind of brooding thing going on, but she's super, super sexy, and they're working things out. There you go. Anyway, that's one of my all-time favorite comics in terms of art, and I actually got through it. Comixology didn't freeze. Well, I'm impressed. It only took 3 tries and a whole day of attempting to make this video, but I did it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more content to come slowly but surely. I'm getting better at making videos. If you want to subscribe, please do. Head on over to Instagram, check out what's going on there as I post some drawing videos. And I will see you around. It's nice to be back on YouTube. Have a good one, folks. Bye.